Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Bundesliga career mode. This is the 27th episode of this series, and as you can see, we are starting off today's episode with me taking the Brazil job and finally saying yes to the nation. Now, of course, a couple episodes ago, they came in for me, and I asked you guys what you thought, and a lot of you guys were very, very hopeful that I would take the job, but I still wasn't too sure. I was thinking, do I want to take on a side project alongside with Hamburg? But I think there'd be a good nation to manage, and here's a question for you guys today to start the episode off as well. What's been your favourite nation to manage in career mode? Now, of course, in FIFA 13, international management was implemented into career mode, and it's a feature which not too many people bother with too much. A lot of people just worry about the club stuff and don't bother getting a nation to manage on the side as well. But whenever I do a career mode, I tend to manage a nation as well. I've had some fun managing so many different nations: England, Spain, France, Portugal, Belgium. Loads of nations I've enjoyed managing, but for me, my favourite nation to manage was in my last career mode of Watford and Milan, where I managed Canada. And the reason it was my favourite is because they were a 3-star nation when we took over. We gave them a ton of Canadian youth talent. We scouted them for like 4 seasons, I think, and we turned them into a 4-star nation. We took them to the World Cup, got to the quarterfinals before Spain knocked us out. I feel like managing that type of nation for me was the most enjoyable, because they were a pretty poor nation, let's be honest, no disrespect to the Canadians out there, a pretty poor nation nonetheless, and with no real talent in their side, it was up to me to buy youth scouts, scout the country, and try and sort of make my own, if you will, and just end up taking a bunch of teenagers to the World Cup. It was just a really fun nation for me to manage, and that's why they were my favourite nation to manage ever since I started doing international management with career mode in, on YouTube really. But for you guys, let me know in the comment section down below, what's been your favourite nation to manage in career mode, and let me know why. Maybe you prefer managing a big nation like England or Spain or France or Germany. Maybe like me, you prefer managing obscure nation. Let me know in the comment section down below, what's been your favourite nation to manage, and do you really care about the international management job offer thing? Is it something which you worry about too much, or do you usually just manage the club and not bother with the country? But still, coming to the first game of today's episode here, we will take on SC Freiburg at the Volkspark Stadion. Now, taking on this side who currently sit just above the relegation zone. The first chance fell to us. First, Leroy Sané was denied twice, first by the goalkeeper and then by the crossbar. But in the 19th minute, we would open the scoring here. Masuaku getting our first goal of the game as he runs to celebrate with the substitutes. It's his second goal of the season, and I mentioned when he scored his first goal for us this year. I don't think he scored last year in his debut season, but that's now his second already. We're not even halfway through the second season here with Hamburg, and Masuaku is one of our most underrated players in this Hamburg side. He grows quietly. You don't notice him very often in the left-back role, but he puts in solid shifts every single game, both defensively and when offense as well. That is his second goal of the season, a really good strike. It clipped the underside of the bar and went into the back of the net. So Hamburg 1, Freiburg 0. And of course, coming on the back of that 2-1 defeat by Leverkusen as well, that was only our second league defeat of the season. So coming back home at the Volkspark Stadion, still haven't lost a game here in the league since we took over. I was feeling very, very confident, and I was feeling even more confident when the Freiburg goalkeeper did this straight from kickoff. Yes, Freiburg gave the ball away, then we gave the ball away with Sané. Freiburg retained possession, played it back to the goalkeeper, and that is a moment the number one will not want to see again, but he will, because I'm showing the replay. This was an awful, awful mistake, and as you guys know, when it comes down to pass accuracy on legendary difficulty in this year's FIFA, it seems as though the AI teams always get it right. Well, that was one of the very rare instances where they got it wrong. The goalkeeper tried to play out from the back, and I don't even know who he was trying to pass it to. He didn't find his teammate though. He found Correa, who scored his 9th for the season, and he hasn't scored an easier goal than that. So 2-0 going into the break, and in the second half, 8 minutes after the restart, we will get our third goal of the game, and Angel Correa gets his second of the game. It is his 10th of the season already to double figures in the lead. But once again, what on earth was this from Freiburg? Just like the second goal he scored in Correa's first, they passed the ball straight to Angel Correa, and yes, he's hit double figures now in the Bundesliga. I'm really pleased with that. He may well end up winning the Golden Boot come the end of the season, touch wood. He's been fantastic to start the season off, but I have literally no idea how twice in one game Freiburg could just pass him the ball and give him a free shot at goal. That was just absolutely awful. And again, Correa's a great striker, but he doesn't need to be a great striker to finish those sort of chances. I couldn't really work out which one was easier, the open goal or the one from about 3 yards out. Ridiculous defending from Freiburg, terrible passing. As you can see, we led the game now by 3-0. So points were basically in the bag. And then 57th minute, Greg Ritchie almost scored a lovely goal here, chesting down his Timo Werner cross, but volley volleying the ball off target. And then the 68th minute here, another good chance for us. Lewis Holtby gets on the ball, finds Gregoritsch off the bench once again, and this time he does score, makes it 4-0, and puts the ball into the top corner. So Gregoritsch comes off the bench at half time, the number 18, does get our 4th goal of the game. Hamburg 4, Freiburg 0, and the away side in this game just did not turn up. They really didn't. It was one of those typical AI on Legendary games where the opposition don't care about scoring goals, they just want to have the ball at their feet and pass the ball around. They hadn't had a single shot in the entire game. We were now 4 goals up and dominating, and Gregoritsch, a player who last season I sent out on loan, didn't really use very much, but I do have some kind of confidence in this guy. He looks really good as an energy player, coming off the bench. He's 6'4", got some alright pace I suppose, and looks like a bit of a handful really when running at tired legs. So Hamburg 4, Freiburg 0, and in stoppage time we almost made it 5-0 here. This header by Jonathan Tah, I think it was, hit the bar, and eventually Freiburg got the ball away as the block shot from Gerhardt was deflected and eventually cleared. So final score, Hamburg 4, Freiburg 0, a 4-0 scoreline, a very big win. It's our second 4-0 scoreline of the season after we beat Borussia Mönchengladbach by the same scoreline in the opening day of the Bundesliga season. A really solid win, and as you can see from the stats right there, we got the possession battle back in our favour in the second half, so Freiburg could even cling on to that come the end of the game. That was probably the manager's thinking at half time, just win a possession battle lads, we'll take it, but they couldn't even do that come the end of 90 minutes. It ended 50-50, but the most important thing was that we won the game by 4-0, and again for the entire 90 minutes they didn't register a single shot. So a great win for us, and what a way to bounce back as well after that disappointing defeat to Bayer Leverkusen. A huge win in front of our home fans, and that gives us a lot of confidence going into this game here, the second and final one of today's episode, as we travel to Austria to take on Red Bull Salzburg in the penultimate game of the Champions League group stage. Now coming into this game, as you can see, it really is tight between the top 3 teams in the group, and come the end of 90 minutes we could be top of the group, we could still be in second, or we could drop down to 3rd place depending on what happens in this game and what happens in the game in Portugal between Benfica and Arsenal. So a massive game here away in Austria. If Benfica lost to Arsenal, we would be guaranteed to qualify for the knockout stages if we could win here tonight. So I was hoping with a game to spare, Arsenal would do us a favour and both of us would be advancing to the knockout stages with a game left. So taking on Red Bull Salzburg away in Austria. First chance fell to them with Jurisin's header going just over the bar, and the second chance fell to us. Valente's free kick from distance was tipped over the bar and behind for a corner, so still goalless. Then from that corner it's crossed into the centre. Luan won the header but could only put it onto the roof of the net as it went behind for a goal kick. So still 0-0, but both sides having early chances in this game. And 2.5 minutes to go here before the break. Another good chance for the Austrians. Jurisin goes for goal. This time it's the target, but Valente denies him a good save and keeps it at 0-0. But just a couple minutes later after that here, Red Bull Salzburg get on the ball once again with Jabber going down the right hand side. The cross comes into the centre towards Roberto Soriano, who is such an underrated striker. His goals to game ratio speaks for itself, and as you can see just before the break he runs to the corner flag, kicks it in celebration, and Red Bull Salzburg take an unlikely lead here in Austria. Now of course they did draw against us at the Volkspark Stadion, but that's so far their only point of this Champions League group stage from the first 4 games. And coming into this game I was thinking surely we're not going to slip up against them again, but at half time we were trailing by a 0 as they were dominating possession as well. So what an awful first half. Red Bull Salzburg having the lead in a game where a win for us could see us guaranteed to be going through to the knockout stage with a game to spare, but a loss could see us drop down to 3rd place with Benfica overtaking us and going into second. So in the second half we had to turn up, we had to turn it around, we had to get ourselves back on level terms. When we need someone to score a goal, who do we turn to? Well, it's the guy that's rowing to the cameraman right now, Angel Correa, scoring once again, and this guy right now is just on fire. Angel Correa continues his great goal scoring run, and what a goal it was, cutting in from the left with the Berber spin, then the roulette, and then a rasping shot through a crowd of bodies past the shot stopper who can't stop the shot as it goes into the back of the net, and we get ourselves back on level terms. When we needed someone to step up and get ourselves the equalising goal, we turn to our top scorer, we turn to our number 10, we turn to a possible new hero, Angel Correa. What an extraordinary goal by our number 10, who's proving he's not just doing it in the Bundesliga but in the Champions League as well. So Red Bull Salzburg 1, Hamburg 1, back on level terms. The draw wasn't going to be good enough in my opinion. We still need to go in search of a winning goal, and as Red Bull Salzburg were denied there by a great save by Valente, it was still anyone's game as the game was coming to its latter stages. And in stoppage time, as Correa went down the left hand side, we tried to get ourselves one final chance to win the game. We'll get one from this corner after the cross was deflected and turned behind. Lewis Holtby was standing over it, and the skipper asked everyone to crowd the goalkeeper out in the box. He swung the ball into the centre. It was headed away only as far as Luan, who played it back into the box. Hoffman headed the ball up in the air, and Julian Brandt on the volley turns it in and makes it Red Bull Salzburg 1, Hamburg 2, and in stoppage time with virtually the final kick of the game. What a moment to rejoice for the fans up the other end of the pitch. It's Red Bull Salzburg 1, Hamburg 2, and Julian Brandt wins us the game with virtually the final kick of the match. Unbelievable scenes here in Austria. We come from behind to claim a priceless win, and Brandt scores the goal that may well send us through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Credit Luan for keeping the chance alive by winning the header on the edge of the area. Hoffman going up with Mukhtar, headed it on, and Julian Brandt did the rest, swiveling on the turn on the 180 with the volley, putting it past the goalkeeper and winning us the game with one of the final kicks of the match. Final score, Red Bull Salzburg 1, Hamburg 2, and when that goal went in, I went absolutely mental. It was one of those games where I really wish I did a live commentary for it. I went ballistic when that goal was scored, because I was thinking if we draw this game and Benfica win, we'll go into third place and we'll need to win on the final group stage game. But this win could potentially see us through with a game to spare, depending what happens in Portugal. But as you can see, following the game, Benfica did draw with Arsenal 2-2, which means that going into the final group stage game, all you need to know is this: Benfica need to beat us at the Volkspark Stadium by 3 clear goals, otherwise we go through. So we could finish in first place still, as we're level on points with Arsenal right now, but as they're playing Red Bull Salzburg at home, I'd fancy them to win that game pretty comfortably. So all you really need to know is this: for us to not go through, Benfica need to beat us by 3 clear goals. So the cards are in our favour right now. We have the best chance of going through. It's up to us to make sure we don't choke on the final group stage game. But that is going to be today's episode of the Bundesliga career mode, guys. So I want to say a massive thank you for watching the video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then please do consider leaving a like. That's of course much appreciated. It really helps the channel grow as well. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Bundesliga career mode very soon.